It is my sincere pleasure to meet with Yukoners and my circumpolar colleagues here in what is my beloved Yukon. So welcome. It's really exciting for me to see so many of my colleagues here. They've been hearing me talk about the Yukon for a long time, and now we get to experience some of it together, so I'm super excited. My name is Suzanne, and I've been an IPTRN steering committee member for just about most of the network's existence, which is about 10 years. And about 3 years ago, I started scheming to bring the IPTRN conference and community tour to the Yukon. And I enlisted my colleague, Patrick Bruder, to coordinate, co-organize with me, and we brought up my graduate student, Britta Peterson, also to help with this event. So thank you both. The planning team would like to take a moment to acknowledge that the Whitehorse segment of our conference and community tour occurs on the traditional territories of the Kwanlundan and the Tanquachan Council First Nations. In 3 days' time, we will travel down the road and journey through the traditional territory of the Little Simon Carmacks, Selkirk, and Natchalnyak First Nations, arriving on the evening of the 25th of June in the traditional territory of the Tanquachan First Nation. We are very grateful for the opportunity to learn and share knowledge on these lands and with the people who live here, as well as those who are visiting this wonderful place. Tonight is the kickoff event to a week of conversations that focus on tourism in the polar regions. Tourism presents different opportunities and presents also complex challenges. The study of tourism raises questions that are of interest to researchers from many disciplines. Its management has industry and economic implications, and for many, those aspects will dominate what they know about tourism. However, the study of tourism informs what we know about climate change and wants to understand also how tourism may contribute to it. And the interface between host and guest also provides insight into identity, community building, community development, as well as cultural revitalization and reconciliation. For most circumpolar regions, tourism can offer possibility to diversify economies and communities that are built on natural resources. They may bring new residents or support strategies to retain those who are already here. It provides hope also to Indigenous peoples who seek a means to support empowerment, enhance self-sufficiency and sustainability through tourism-related activities. Latitudinally, we have a lot to gain from our discussions and interactions. In the Northern Hemisphere, East-West dialogue across the entire polar region can provide insight and innovation not available from the long time and over-relied upon longitudinal South-North interactions. The polar tourism issues, related issues in the Southern Hemisphere are equally compelling, if often distinctly different from those questions we may ask up here. The IPTRN Conference and Community Tour occurs every 2 years, just to give you a little bit of background. And this IPTRN focuses on the relationships between the arts, heritage, cultures, communities, and tourism. The rich multicultural diversity of the polar regions will be explored, and we hope to create opportunities to engage learning and knowledge sharing across and amongst many different audiences. As part of this conference opening event, we invited Barre Alchemy to host here with us the circumpolar launch of their cocktail book. They are serving taster drinks from their new summer edition cocktail book, and they will say a few words for us a little later in the program. The only other time that that both of these people will speak a little bit later after you get to mingle a little bit more. To showcase Indigenous aspects of this cultural diversity, the IPTRN joined forces with the YFNCT, so the Yukon First Nations Culture and Tourism Association. And we, the IPTRN, aligned our conference dates to end at the beginning of Attica. I finally can say it properly. An amazing cultural mecca that celebrates the rich and powerful cultures of Yukon's Indigenous people. I would like to thank the YFNCT for being willing to collaborate with us and work towards activities that are mutually beneficial and that help us achieve our common goals. We've also collaborated with Nakai Theatre, and Jacob was here a moment ago but had to run to get some stuff prepared for tomorrow night. So we collaborated with Nakai Theatre to offer our delegates and the general public, residents and visitors to Whitehorse an evening of theatre and music. So we hope that some of you might be able to join us tomorrow for an improv theatre show called Hosts and Guests in Polar Places, which will be at the Fire Hall. Our research sharing sessions are also open to the public, and we have 4 workshops that are part of our open to the public program as well. And you can refer to our full program online and materials, and there's some materials in the room as well for a full list of our public events over the next couple of days here in Whitehorse, but also in Dawson City a little later in the week. So before I hand this over to a few special guests that we have who would like to welcome you, I'd like to acknowledge the funding and other support we've received. So specifically, SHRC funding. SHRC is Canada's social science research funding agency, the Yukon government, tourism and culture, and my own university, Vancouver Island University. So while I live mostly in the Yukon and called it home for a very long time, I do scoot down south to teach at a university there and bring a lot of students back up here. Over the last 2 years, my planning team have also burned through my almost 30 years of Yukon social capital by asking for favors and getting support to host the event here in my northern home. So I'd like, if you can, to just please take note of the many of those who have supported us on our sponsorship board right here. It would be great. We have a lot of people that have really supported this event, and we're very thankful.